Hi and welcome to my webinar, The Insider Tips on How You Can Go About Getting a Flat Belly. Now, you may want to take some notes throughout this because I can talk quite quickly. I've got a lot of information that I want to share with you on this webinar. So grab a pen and a piece of paper. You may also want to just dull any distractions, turn your phone onto silence, turn Facebook off, turn the telly off, and just really zone in on what I'm going to share with you, because this potentially will change your life and give you an opportunity to get a result that you may not have got before. And I'm certainly got a few secrets that I will be sharing with you. Now, Maree is a lady who came and saw me last year, and she's in a low to mid 40s, has two grown-up children. And when Maree came to me, she was quite desperate. She had tried various weight loss programs, but more importantly, she'd had a back operation about 18 months prior to this and was in pain. She couldn't really exercise. She was gaining more weight, and any of the weight loss programs she had tried didn't really, cut it, or she would do it for a week and then she would fall off the wagon. So she was in a real state of anxiety. She was crying every day. She didn't like who she'd become, and she had a very strong sense of helplessness. Now, this is Maree 6 months on. Now, she did all the advice that I suggested that she do. She lost 14 kilograms. She took her belly from fat to flat. Her pain went totally. She now exercises every day and loves it, and she's eating remarkably healthy. And it's still to this day, I get emails and texts from Maree just saying, I can't believe how easy the advice was that you gave me. And once she got it, she just could easily roll it into her life. And now it's not an effort at all, and this is what she looks like, and she just loves life. And I want to share with you in this webinar how you can do this too. Just a little bit about me. Some of you may have come across some of my work before or heard me speak on radio or TV. I'm a nurse and a naturopath, and I was a pharmaceutical rep for about 9 years. Now I do a lot more public speaking. I write lots of books. I've written 5. I'm into my 6th one now. And I run a small clinic, but a large percentage of what I do is really public media and showing people how they can take their health to the next step. Certainly have become over years I guess the media see me as the go-to person for hormone management. And it's funny though, I see hormones as a totally different, to me, everything can be explained through hormonal eyes. Hormones are just the little curious system our body uses in order to function and respond to our environment. And we're going to discuss that a little bit more today, because for some of you, addressing your hormones is the place you're going to have to start in order to move forward. Some of these are just some of the TV interviews I've done on national TV over the years. That's on Today Show in Australia. This is Sunrise, which is they're our two biggest TV networks and shows in Australia with the greatest audience. The others are from A Current Affair, Channel 9 News. I have a regular spot on ABC Radio, and up until recently I did have my own radio show too, which is pretty cool, and I want to get that back because it was fun. I was just giving my voice a little rest. Okie doke, so who's going to benefit from listening to this webinar? Now, these are the sort of people I know I can help. So if you've tried dieting before, you may have got the results, but it went back on, you're going to find or hear something I know that will help you with that just by listening to this webinar. Others might just want more energy. They might be happy with their size, but they're struggling on the energy front. Some of you listening might have been to a doctor trying to lose weight, and they might run a battery of tests, or they'll pat you on the shoulder and say, dare, go and do some more exercise, and it just doesn't cut it. There's those of you who want a flat belly, and there'll be some of you who are doing all the correct eating and correct exercise and still can't lose that belly fat, and I'll be able to show you in this webinar why that's not happening for you. And there are just some of us who want to look really good and cool in our own skin and feel sensational when we're taken down to no clothes. So are you frustrated with your belly fat? And this lady here, she's a really good example of, she's not necessarily overweight, and if we saw her in the shops or in the streets, none of us would really say she's got a fat problem. But that little bit of loose skin there, or a little bit of tummy fat, for some people is quite soul destroying, because they will be doing most of the things right, but they're just not mastering one or two elements. And belly fat You might be watching this and have no waistline. You might have that real muffin top, which is, from your armpits down to your hips. It's kind of one straight line. It's really uncomfortable. One thing I noticed when I have had weight over the years, or, been pregnant, I find that, you go to lean forward and your belly shoves up into your diaphragm, and it is downright uncomfortable. So for nothing else, you just want to have more comfort in your day. You want to put your sneakers on without that discomfort. Then having a flat belly is essential. It's also quite unhealthy having a flat belly. We know things like type 2 diabetes, which is affecting, in my home country, which is Australia, it's affecting now, well, definitely 1 in 4, but it's probably more like 1 in 3. They're predicting over the next 10 years, non-insulin dependent type diabetes, or type 2 diabetes in Australia is going to affect 50% of the nation. So it's a massive problem, and most of that is related to belly size. There are other things associated with unhealthy things with having a fat belly. So we know that it will, women who are struggling to fall pregnant will often have a wider waistline. We know that's associated with stroke. We know it's associated with heart disease. We know that having a wide waist is associated with lots of true, proven, unsafe, unhealthy medical conditions. And just for those of us who want to feel good naked, having that little belly fat sometimes is quite inhibitive for our confidence. So it does feel unsexy. So I might have already covered an area that you're struggling with, and I tried to pin it down to 4 areas where people fail to lose their belly fat. Now, the first one is definitely there's an issue. If we're not focused on our food, we will overeat. And that's called unconscious eating, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. There is definitely an element of wrong food selection. So still to this day, some people don't get the correct foods for their body, and your body won't reward you. It just doesn't like being fed the wrong fuel. A lot of people don't exercise enough, and exercise is a funny word. A lot of people start cringing and going, I should exercise more, and they think by getting a gym membership that's called exercise. But I think of exercise as just that incidental moving around in your life. So it might just be the random, do a couple of squats while you're talking to someone. Those little walks along the beach that you don't consider to be exercise, they're incidental, but they accumulate. So we're not active enough. I think active's a better word than exercise. And the 4th area I'm really going to elaborate on, because for some of you, this is the missing link for why you haven't got a flat belly, and that'll be through your hormone balance. Now, for women, I'm going to talk about high testosterone. I'm going to discuss high estrogen, high cortisol, and high insulin, because those 4 hormones and those imbalances will lead to belly fat. And for guys, I'm just going to touch on high estrogen and high cortisol, because similarly that will lead to belly fat for you. Now, this webinar is primarily about women, so you'll find when I talk about things, it'll be really pitched to you ladies listening. Guys, you will get a lot out of it as well, but it is mainly for ladies. I do have a male webinar specifically about belly fat, but it's coming out soon. So let's look at this unconscious eating that a lot of us are assuming and doing. And I think it's, if we look at the root of it all, I think it's because we feel time poor. And what we've started to do is not value our nourishment and our eating as a high priority. So we see it more as a, I've got to have, breakfast, lunch and dinner because that's what I've been told. So rather than embrace it as a true experience of the day, we see it more as it's a tick box, I've just got to do it. Because I know if I don't eat on some level that I'm not going to survive. So for a lot of us, it's, an inconvenience if we have to stop work and eat. Now, if you're listening to this and you've travelled, you'll understand what I'm about to say now, and that's some countries, their whole day is based around food. So they spend 8 to 10 hours of their day just planting their crops, reaping their crops, and preparing their food. But in Western societies, these concrete jungles that we live in and that we think are quite advanced, we spend a very small part of our day sourcing food because it's pretty much everywhere for us. We spend very little time in the preparation. That's unless you really love cooking and a foodie. In fact, some people don't even prepare anymore. They just buy it already done for them. And then when we come to consume it and eat it, we see it also as a bit of I've just got to get it from mouth into, table into belly. So we're missing that whole experience of eating. Now, this is quite bad on quite a few levels because mindless eating leads to overeating. It also leads to undereating. So because you're so disengaged with your food, your body doesn't use all the normal signals that are in place, like the stomach wall stretches, which then has hormones, leptins, that go up to the brain and say, hi, I'm full. And you don't get any of that happening when you're shoving food in. So a big problem is people will overeat. Or if they're not focused on their food at all, they'll undereat. I've got plenty of clients who've seen me over the years who actually have no appetite because they're so stressed or busy that they don't even allow that feedback to come into their conscious state that says, I'm hungry. Or they'll not eat all day, they'll get home and they're like a rubber band and they'll just go, right, I haven't eaten all day, what can I eat? And they'll be shoving their faces and they'll engorge themselves. It'll often be poor food choices and they'll then feel tired, fatigued and fall asleep on a full belly full of rubbish. Now, emotional eating and stress eating. Put your hand up if you're one of these people. I've got my hand waving over here because I am guilty of this. I used to be very envious of people who got sad and emotional or stressed and didn't eat because they actually can lose weight. But majority of us, if we have something going on in our life that makes us a little bit anxious, or if we're feeling sad, even if we're feeling excited, we will turn to food to dispel that energy. And in doing that, our hormones are not in the right frame of mood to be eating for starters, and we're not focused and engaged, and we'll usually overeat in that scenario. So the cumulative effect of all of those practices in your life will lead to excessive calories and belly fat. This is quite interesting. This is some research coming from mindless eating, and what they discovered with a few things. So the utensils are quite important, the plates that you eat off are important, the glasses that you drink out of are extremely important. Now, people will drink more from a short, wide glass than they will from a tall, skinny glass. Isn't that interesting? In fact, up to a third more. So if you want to drink water, like I'm doing now, drink it from a short, stout glass. If you want to drink alcohol, drink it from a tall, skinny glass. You'll drink less alcohol and you'll drink more water just by doing that one little thing. Mindless eating, here's a classic example. This mindless eating as well, they showed that normal-sized people underestimated how much they ate by 25 to 30%. And people who had an overweight or obese issue underestimated how much they were putting in their mouth by 50%. So that's a lot of unaccountable, unconscious calories going in your mouth. And if you're like this lady, look, we kind of cringe when we see this because it's like, gee, I wouldn't do that, but chances are at some point you have. And the thing with this lady is she's eating while she's driving. You know, she's not even focused on her food, so her stomach acid's not even getting ready to receive that junk food that she's throwing in her mouth. They've brought out a thing in America, and it's called the steering wheel meal. And it's a sleeve that fits over your steering wheel, so you can eat onto your lap while you're driving. And it seems absurd, but it really does epitomise our thoughts and our eating patterns in our concrete jungles around food. So the wrong foods. Now, some of you will be actually eating wrong foods. Now, I do believe that you can get away with 20% a little bit naughty. That's when you're at the right size and happy with your health and have a nice lean waist. When you're struggling with belly fat, in order to get the lean belly in the first place, you've got to do it about 90% right. And you really need to pay attention to these foods because they can slide on in and there can be little habits based around them you're not even aware of. So some of the wrong foods that you might be eating are sugar-rich foods. Now, chocolate definitely falls into this category, and unfortunately, I'm a reformed chocolate addict. So much so I used to have a family block, which is 250 grams of chocolate a day. Now, if I put even one of those squares near my mouth, I'd nearly be sick because I've resensitized my palate and the sugar receptors on my tongue that now I find it just that cheaper chocolate, all I can taste is fat and sugar in it, and it just is a repulsive thing for me. Whereas when I was hooked on it, I just thought it was, like drinking breast milk almost. It really sent me into this la-la state. So you've got to break these habits and wean yourself off sugar. Yogurt's another one. People think yogurt's the panacea and it's okay and it's high in protein. Well, sorry, it's not high in protein. Most of it's 2 to 3% maximum protein. A majority of commercial yogurts are just a bit of dairy, which I'm not a huge fan of for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. It'll have a thickener in it and some sugar. So we went through this phase in the 90s when we started recognising that fat-rich foods created cholesterol, higher cholesterol, atherosclerosis and heart disease. So we started saying to everyone, hey, have fat-free foods. That's when sugar-rich foods started entering the marketplace. So another area that people will often eat too much of, that's those dippity bix. So they'll have, little wafers and crackers and things with dips with girlfriends. There's an extra 1,000 calories there, and it is the wrong food. High sugar foods. Alcohol is another one a lot of people can get quite addicted to, and it might start off as 1 glass when you get home, 1 glass while you're cooking, another 2 with dinner. Before you know it, you've nearly polished off half a bottle to a bottle every night. Fruit juice can also be quite a demon. Let's talk about fat-rich foods. So fats aren't a bad thing. We do need fats, but too many of them, and particularly these ones I've listed here, the saturated fats, can be problematic. They're full of fatty acids called omega-6s, 9s and 12s, and whilst you need some, you don't need a lot. It's better for your body to get fat from omega-3 sources, which are plant fats, and palm oil is the exception there, but coconut oil, olive oil, canola oil, nuts and seeds, chia seeds are fantastic, and deep sea fish, so tuna and salmon. And the other group I do find people can overdose on are these carbohydrate-rich foods. So they're foods that have got a high glycemic index and a high glycemic load. Pasta, rice, potato. So look, rice is on there. Brown wild rice is probably fine. But white rice that you get in sushi is not fine. So a lot of people are twaddling off on their lunch break thinking they're being healthy having their sushi, but it is white rice, high glycemic index, high glycemic load, and it will, if you're stressed particularly, lead to belly fat. Now, exercise. And as I said, I prefer to call it activity because it doesn't seem to have as many negative connotations for people. Activities, movement, being involved, whatever you want to call it. But surveys show time and time again that people are not engaged in regular activity. And this to me is a time management issue. They just don't value it. And they've got negative connotations with exercise from a childhood thing when they were made exercise and they didn't like it, or because of something else. They've had a bad association with a gym. Now, I think it's quite important to find activities that you love because then you look forward to them. They're not something that you feel you have to do. So those sorts of things, a mixture. There's so many things out there that can get your body moving. It might be walking with a girlfriend on the beach. It might be bushwalking. It might be going to the gym. It might be doing a yoga class. It might be getting a bike and going for a ride. It might be running. It might be joining a fitness club, triathlon club. Just mix it up. You need to have some up activities and you also need to have some down activities. Now, this will be one area, and if you're going to the gym, just listen to what I'm about to say on this one because you might find this is the area you're struggling with. Now, a lot of people will come to me and they'll say, I'm doing boxercise, I've got a personal trainer 3 times a week, and I'm doing, spin, I'm doing all these up activities. Now, up activities are the ones where you put your body under duress, your heart rate's beating through the roof, and you sweat, and you feel kind of good afterwards. There's like this massive expulsion of energy, and that's fabulous, but you can't base your whole activity just around those activities. You need down activities in order to lose weight. So in the down activities, and often people are quite up, don't like them because they say, oh, I've got to sit still and my mind just doesn't let me do that. Well, you're the ones who need it the most because when you permit your body to relax and do down activities, that's when you start shedding weight. So down activities are things like this class, a little stretch class, body balance class. I do things like stand-up paddling. To me, that's like meditation on water. Bushwalking's a nice down activity. Swimming's a good down activity. This one up here on the right-hand side, probably an up activity. So you need to do a mixture of all of those. And if you're not exercising at all, can I suggest, particularly if you feel really time poor, is that you start taking your sneakers to work and you just start going for a 10-minute walk before you eat lunch. Because that 10 minutes will start growing, you'll start loving it, and it will start... you're at least exercising, and over the week that's an hour and a half just by doing those little snatch walks. Righty-ho. Now, pen and paper ready for this. So some of you won't have heard talks about hormones before, so I'll just cover what a hormone is. I'm going to talk about stress hormones, sex hormones and sugar hormones and how they all can lead to belly fat. Now, a hormone is something the body uses, and it's a bit like a baton, like this picture here, to take a message from one part of your body to another. And a good example is your pituitary gland, which sits between your eyes up in your skull. It can't leave the brain and travel down to an ovary to get it to start working because it just doesn't. So what it does is it uses hormones in the bloodstream to do that. Now, once the hormones have done its little gig down at the target organ, usually there's a signal or a messenger sent back up to the pituitary, say, hey, yep, fantastic, signal received, thank you very much. That's called biofeedback. Now, if we talk about stress hormones, stress hormones are interesting, and it's probably my favourite topic at the moment to talk about, because it does lead to belly fat. And to me, this is where we're all going wrong. So stress hormones are quite normal. They kick in because our body feels like it's under threat. Now, it's an unavoidable natural occurrence that happens for all of us. And while that's a really good thing if your body and your life is under threat, so if someone's standing at the front door with a dagger or a gun pointed at your head, you need your body to respond very quickly to that situation. So you want things to click in quick, tongue twister. And what your body will do is it will secrete these 4 hormones. It will secrete adrenaline, which you may have heard of, noradrenaline, cortisol, and testosterone. Now, those things zip around your body and they do amazing things very quickly within split seconds. So they'll get your heart to beat quicker, boom, boom, boom. Get your blood pressure to go up. And blood pressure is really just the size in your blood vessels, and so it will make them thinner and tighter, so the blood flow through there will go up to get that blood pumping more and more so it can carry more oxygen around and dump more waste. It'll get insulin to go up because all of a sudden your body will dump sugar into the bloodstream to take it to the muscles. And it also tells the non-urgent things in your body to slow down. So digestion, when there's somebody standing at the front door with a gun pointed about to rob you, digestion is the last thing your body actually wants to do at that point. What it wants to do is get out of there rapidly. So it says, okay, I suppose that muffin I just ate can wait. So it slows your digestion totally off. Now, I've got there when we get anxious, we create stress as well. So there might not be somebody standing at the front door with a gun pointed at our head. We might just be running late for a meeting, a really important meeting where our boss is going to be there. And we can elicit the same stress response in our body through thoughts, through emotions, through picking children up. Let's go back to that previous one. Through all sorts of things. Through Christmas is coming up in 6 weeks. I see people just lose it. School holidays, oh my God. They stress out. Meeting up with the in-laws, meeting up with an ex. There's so many things and triggers in our life that will generate this stress that's not life-threatening. Let's move on to sex hormones. Now, this is a book I wrote in 2009 and it has been a #1 bestseller in this country. And it's all about the hormones that change within us as women and the symptoms that it creates. And one of the big things I do discuss in this book is high testosterone in ladies. And categorically, high testosterone in women leads to belly fat. And that's because testosterone will displace some of the insulin receptors. So you end up, when you've got elevated testosterone, an insulin issue. And that will, unfortunately, make you store fat around your belly. And that doesn't even matter if you're not eating a high-fat diet. It switches on that process quite quickly. Interesting, elevated estrogen tends to lead to more cellulite and upper thigh fat. But the problem with estrogen, if it's up, it'll stop you losing weight generally. So both those sex hormones need to be pulled back into balance. I do talk a lot in my book about high testosterone, and in all my programs I talk about it because as working women we need to be really mindful of why our testosterone's going up. And whilst I've classified it here as a sex hormone, but you would have seen on the previous slide that I do actually, in all my talks now, blogs and interviews, discuss testosterone as a stress hormone because it's made by our adrenal glands, not our sex organs. It goes up when we feel stressed. So if work for you is a stressful thing, your testosterone will go up. And unless we learn to disassociate that work stress before we walk in the home, we keep our levels up. And high testosterone leads to things that happen to boys when they're hitting puberty. So that will happen to us as women. So we get angry, we get irritable, we get facial hair. So if you're suffering with whiskers around your chin or your upper lip, chances are you've got high estrogen, or you're experiencing a lot of stress. Acne, belly fat's a classic, and a syndrome called polycystic ovary syndrome, which is my specialty area, and that's what this book really discusses. Is polycystic ovary syndrome is when women have too much testosterone and they can start making cysts on their ovaries. It's the number one reason for infertility in women. Okay, sugar hormones. You're taking lots of notes. Sorry, I've just got so much I want to share with you. Now, sugar hormones. Sugar hormones, when we eat carbohydrates, so there's 3 types of foods. There's fats, there's proteins, and there's carbohydrates. So as soon as we eat any carbohydrate, which generally is a plant-derived food, our body will... carbohydrates give our body water, fibre, vitamins and minerals, and sugar or glucose. So as soon as we put them in our mouth, it starts to get broken down, and our body will pick that up in the bloodstream, passes through the liver, which then goes, oh, blood sugar's on the rise, I better get the pancreas to secrete some more insulin. Now, that's fine if we need it, that's fine. But if we go and dump a stack of sugar-type rich foods in our body at one point, it sends the body into a bit of disarray. So it goes, okay, she's having something sweet, lots of chocolate, lots of biscuits, lots of cakes. Oh my gosh, stop, the morning tea's just, pancreas, are you keeping up? Are you keeping up? There's more coming. So it puts our body into quite a stressed state while it deals with all that surge of sugar. Now, if there's too much and insulin can't keep up, it activates a process called lipogenesis. And lipo means fat and genesis means to make. So high blood sugar levels will lead to lipogenesis, so we make fat. So even though those foods don't necessarily have fat in them, we will produce fat because it's stored sugar. So that's all fat is. It's a powerful way for our body to get this sugar down and store the glucose as fat. And then we can draw on it on a rainy day when we need to. And unfortunately, some of us don't get that rainy day, so it stays with us for a lot of years. Now, so to get how you go from having a fat belly to a flat belly, you need to improve your health. And if you do get a flat belly, this is me on the right here, and I've had 3 kids, I don't go to the gym obsessively. I just do those mix of activities I was telling you about before. But the thing I really do well, and that's I eat exceptionally well, and I balance my hormones. So you need, if you do get this flat belly like I have, I'll tell you right now, your health is remarkable. You have really good energy levels. And if any of you know me, they kind of go, you got so much energy. And it's like, yeah, well, I eat well. I follow what I preach, sort of thing. Your self-esteem goes up. You actually, when your self-esteem goes up, it's interesting. You draw in different relationships, or you seem to have this ability to go, you know what, you're a bit like junk food. I don't eat McDonald's anymore. Oops, I shouldn't say that. I don't eat junk food anymore. You remind me a little bit of junk food. Each time I have a meeting with you or we catch up, I walk away feeling a bit icky and regretful. So your relationships improve remarkably once you get your flat belly. You might have lots of other reasons here that you want to have a flat belly, and I'll tell you right now, I know you can. I know with the right advice and program, you definitely can have a flat belly. So what I've done is, 26 years as a nurse and onto my 13th year of having my own clinic as a naturopath and health coach, what I've done is put all that information and elements of my books and things into a program. And I've called it the Fat to Flat Belly program. It's online, so you can do it from your house. You can do it from work. Most of the recipes, so there's an 8-week challenge to kickstart it, and then you get ongoing support. So I'll go through what you actually get, because this changes people's lives. This is what Maree's done. This is what my clinic does. This is why I get emails saying, my God, my life has changed, and it's not that hard. and women who've been doing this have been losing between 1.5 and 2 kilos a week. So it's got the online eating plans and the recipes. Most of the recipes are gluten-free and dairy-free, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and I explain that in the program. It's not hard. It's just taking people back to basic eating, really. I'm Italian, so a lot of the recipes are really simple to eat. Chicken with great salads. So they're not complicated. They're not. You don't have to be a cordon bleu chef to roll them out, and they're designed for people who are busy. So you just need a little bit of preparation, and I think it's a really good habit anyway. On the weekend, to start going to the market, say good day to the farmer, get your produce, maybe whip up a couple of salads on the weekend, and then I'll show you how to plan out your week so you can design it for success rather than all those weak opportunities where you gravitate to naughty food. I've got a couple of bonuses in here, and this bonus used to be, it is a standout product that I sell for $300. And this is the why you need to do what I explain you to do. So it's modules. I've got modules on stress management, how to design your most perfect life. I was shown about 4 years ago how you can actually design what you want to have happen every single day in your life. I don't start work now till about 10:30, 11 because that was in my design. I don't want to be that stressed woman I was for years, racing into work at 8 o'clock. I want to be that person who wakes up, loves life, has no stress, goes to the beach, has a swim, has a walk, says hello to people in the coffee shop on the way home. So that is me. I've worked out how you can design your life, and that's in one of these modules. We talk about hormone balancing in one of the modules. Another one's on nutrition. There's 5 modules, and it's quite thick if you were to print it off, but it's the thing that will show you how to live the life you deserve. So this is the transformational stuff. So this is this is from Beck, who's from Brisbane, and anyway, this is what she wrote. Things have been really good. I'm now sugar and grain free. I've lost just over 5 kilos. She's lost more since she wrote this, and my belly is so much flatter. Not to mention I'm feeling so much more alert, happy and energised. Who would have thought I was killing myself with something I thought I loved so much? You've been instrumental in changing my life for the better. And Beck's actually got 2 little children, and the thing I love about helping one person is you actually have this ripple pond effect. So if you're reading this and you're a mum, I know just by you doing the program that I've got, you're going to improve the health of your partner or husband and also your children. It's this beautiful ripple pond effect. So if you don't do this for yourself, do it for them, because it'll improve their health out of sight. I've put a second bonus in there, and that's an interview with Sonia Bella, and she's a lady who runs the Weight Loss Institute, and it's a candid interview, and we talk about where people typically go wrong when they want to lose weight. Mental commitment is really the starting platform for most things. So even listening to this, if you've got I've got to do this going on in your head, then do it, because this is the time to act. And we're also going to in the interview, we talk about some of the secrets on how to get success with weight loss. Okay, so this is Maree. Saw her pre and post pictures before. My weight was a great burden for me in a way that was holding me back performing to my full potential. Business, family and life were a real struggle. I knew my body wasn't how it should be functioning, and understood that menopause and the symptoms I had were the most contributing factors to me not feeling well, being overweight, and at times I was so over it, all I wanted to do was sleep. I didn't want to exercise, and I certainly had no energy. Days of lying on the lounge, wondering what would end, seeing my friends and my partner look at me differently, reading in their eyes telling me, you just look horrible. I had to do something, and Sam was found. She lost weight, dietary needs most suitable for a blood type. That's why the gluten-free and dairy-free recipes are there, because most people I've found don't tolerate them that well, and it slows their metabolism down. Exercise and time out for me were all addressed and achieved with amazing results. Today I'm a very happy, energetic woman, loving life, and love reading the new eyes that now look at me. I love Sam as much as I love life. She's been my helper and continues to help and support wherever needed. Thanks, Sam. So Maree hasn't done anything special. She just took us the next step, which was to join up with this program. So just to recap, it takes the thinking out of all your free preparation that's done there. My whole intent with it is that you learn to love food again, because food's not the problem. It's the environment that we're eating the food that is the problem. So I help you make those shifts. The Happy Female formula is just amazing. And what it will do is do the transitional stuff. So it will help you stop, not just do this yo-yo dieting where you lose it and then you regain it. It's the thing that's like, right, okay, how do we keep it off now? That's right, it's a lifestyle change. And it's easy. The good thing about this program, you can start it straight away. You will influence people around you, no doubt about it. So if you want to, if you've got a girlfriend you're really worried about, you do this and she'll follow. Your self-esteem will go through the roof and everything's going to seem easier. You'll also get weekly food tips. The tips that I've done are 30 seconds to 1 minute long, and the feedback of those has been, I've been really, I just shouldn't say surprised, but because they're short and sharp, people go, wow, it's like, just getting a little bit of insight to how you can help yourself from your own computer that changes your life. You also get monthly webinars, and you can listen to other people. So I interview people and we talk about their struggles and what they've done to overcome them. And for sometimes listening to other people, you get your aha moments. So let's just recap on what you get with the program. You get the first 8 weeks intensive. So you get 8 weeks of eating plans to start with. You get 8 weeks of recipes for each of those meals in that plan. Now, I have been selling that program a bit under $600, and I've sold lots of them. Like, that's, the program. So I know it works, and the first 8 weeks is quite intensive. But now I've rolled it into a monthly program, and I've brought the price down for you. So I want more people to benefit from it. And $600 was a bit inhibitive for some people. So what I've done is break it down quite a lot. You also get these weekly brainstorming tips. You get weekly heart-storming tips, which is like brainstorming but for the heart. You get weekly exercise tips and food tips. You also get the monthly webinar where I talk about hormones, or I talk about menopause, or I talk about vitamin D or breast cancer, and we also interview people. You get free access to my interviews and other specials that I run. So there's a Facebook support page for it. As bonuses, you get the Happy Female Formula, which is $297, and that second bonus with Sonia and myself talking about where people fail with weight loss. Now that package is over $4,000 worth. And for the first 10 people who jump off this webinar and join straight away, I'm going to give the first 10 people, only the first 10 people, a copy for my #1 bestseller, which is The Beauty and the Beast Within. But I only can give it to 10 people, so you need to act pretty quickly on this. So just to recap, you're going to get $4,000 worth in value, including that fat to flat 8-week life transformation program. And all I'm going to charge is $29 a month. Now, I've thought long and hard about this. I'd rather help more people, which is why I've really slashed the price down. It's a monthly commitment. You're not locked into 12 months. So if you find that it's not for you, you can just send me an email and cease deductions at any point. I'm not giving a guarantee. With most things I do, but with this, there is, because it's so dirt cheap, and I know, because I've got a clinic of people who've done this, and I also know people have been doing it online. I know it works. So I know if you do what I suggest, you will definitely get the results. So $29 a month, it's a bit of a no-brainer. So if you're serious, or if you've got that little thing going on in your brain, yes, might be for me, jump on now and act. It's $29 a month. This is the package I know that will help you succeed. And if you're in the first 10 who do that, you're going to get a free copy of my book. So what you need to do now is jump on really quickly, go to flatbellyleanbum.com and sign up, and I'll see you on the other side.